I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, October the 9th. If you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald?
Here.
Councilmember Ashford?
Present.
Councilmember Huron?
Here.
Councilmember Lamb?
Here.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Here.
Mayor Rep?
Yeah, here. Yes, here. You have before you the minutes from the regular meeting of September the 25th. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support? Support. I think Councilmember Lamb had already spoken up, didn't you?
Sorry.
No problem.
Didn't even hear.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any changes to the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand as submitted. We'll now move on to public comment. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the City Council, please come forward. And you have 4 minutes. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hello, my name is James Lambert from St. Clair.
James what?
Lambert.
Okay.
I had a meeting at 4:30 after workday with federal, state, and county officials, in which we were discussing federal funding opportunities. I laughed because I saw a local business person sitting at the bar, so I walked up, no drink in hand. And I said, "Good to see you," shook their hand. As I turned around, I watched my picture being taken. And I went back to the table of state, local, and federal officials who we were meeting with that day, and I said, I'll probably be online the next 20 minutes. And sure enough, fly goes out there that I'm 5 drinks in, drove home, and everyone at the table had a good laugh about it. That's not true. It's kind of silly. I signed up for this rodeo. This is what public life is like in the 21st century in 2023, and the citizens of Port Huron deserve to have a mayor, council, and city manager who stands for what's right, stands for what's truth, and continues to lead this community in a positive direction. I also say, to say that we're the worst community in the entire Midwest is kind of comical. If you look in 2014, we had record high, 50-year high unemployment. Today, we have 50-year low unemployment. We used to chase jobs, now we chase workers. Every year for the last year, consistently, the poverty rate has dropped. We've had over $500 million of investment in this community, more than 3,000 new jobs. Opportunity abounds for our residents. Port Huron is a place of prosperity, it is a place of growth. In 2015, we issued 650 building permits. Last year, we issued 1,050, a 61% increase in building permits in the community. That's a barometer of our economic strength, our economic expansion, and our economic opportunity. So it's a great place to live. That's why I live in this city with my 2 children and my wife, and we call it home and we love it. And it's just a privilege to be here tonight and an opportunity that I'll never take for granted. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, James. And in response to that, I will also say that I know your picture went out on Facebook, and I have people call me to say it wasn't true, that they knew that you did not have 5 drinks. And so on the other side of that. Okay. So just to defend that. And the City Council has been apprised of that, and we are confident that that is the case.
What about the allegations?
And in regard to Mr. Freed's earlier comments, I would just like to say also that the City Council has looked into the allegations that were made against him by the Speaker, and both the employee and Mr. Freed have both sworn statements in their personnel files that nothing ever went on. And the City Council has been apprised of that, and we are confident that that is the case.
What about the allegations?
Are you finished talking, Mr. Lambert?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
No, I have to say.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council?
All right, Kevin Linke, Mom's Basement. So you guys just heard that. So Casanova here was in Casey's, I don't know, a couple months ago, whatever it was. He had his work badge on, said he was there. I got some messages that he was drinking at that meeting, made a post about it. He came in after I came to the next City Council meeting. I made some comments, talked about his drinking and him, why are we paying him to drink in the middle of the day? He says he wasn't drinking that day. You said he didn't have 5 drinks. Well, Jeff Bohm, the St. Clair County chair of the commission, testified, he was at that meeting, and James can confirm that, Mr. Bohm testified under oath that he was drinking that day and that he was drinking that day. So James lied, big time. And James's statement was, the citizens of Port Huron deserve to have a mayor, council, and city manager that stands for what's right, stands for what's true, and continues to lead this community in a positive direction. Yet he lied to everybody, because he lies all the time. And he's got you co-signing his lies. And I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you were told whatever you were told. He knows he lied. The second issue we're going to have is the Ashley Bowman situation. I made a bunch of noise. His name's in the police report twice. Ashley Bowman says he asked her out for drinks. Josh Bowman thought he was dating her. It's in the police report. So I came in again and I said, you know, there's an issue here. A city manager is in a police report asking out a subordinate and another city employee to go have drinks with him. Well, he's married. She was married too. And we all saw what happened with that situation. I mean, you should really train your officers better to not engage in extramarital affairs with civilian staff members, because that's on YouTube comments. Here's the issue, is after that meeting I left, Mayor Rep, you stood up and said that James Freed and Ashley Bowman have signed affidavits in their personnel files saying that he never asked her out for drinks and all that stuff. So I did my due diligence, sent a FOIA request to Ms. Johnson there, who's been really good about FOIAs, thank you for that. And I got Ashley's statement right here. Funny thing is, I don't have one from James. So I said, this is in response to the above reference request for the following public records. Copy of affidavit signed by James Freed regarding the allegations made against him after he was listed in a police report for asking a city employee out for drinks. You said he has a signed affidavit in his personnel file. Well, as the FOIA coordinator for the city of Port Huron, I hereby inform you that a search for the above records produced no documents, and I have determined that they do not exist. So you lied again. And I don't think you lied. I think he told you that's in there, but see, he doesn't want that in his personnel file, because as we're seeing with his censure and his defamation suit and all his nonsense, he doesn't want other employers to see that stuff. The other issue we have is my lawsuit against the city council is being filed this week about the removal last year. The other issue, and you better tell him to fix this, or I'm suing the city for defamation, because that clown right there went on WPHM and made a bunch of defamatory comments about me. I sent him a notice for retraction. He acknowledged it and said if I clarify a little bit more, he'll think about my request. He has until the end of the day tomorrow to print that retraction on WPHM or broadcast it, or the city's getting sued again for his statements. So you guys might want to sit down with Casanova here and have a little talk with him and tell him that he should watch his mouth. You know, and if you keep lying about me, James, it's going to cause you even more problems. See, you need to tell the truth, buddy. You're a grown-up. Stop lying. You know, you lie to your wife about being, true to her. So why would it be a surprise that he lies to everybody else in the city? But that's two big lies. And I think it's time for the city to really address this. We can't have a lying-ass little clown like him up here running the city. And you can sit here and try to tell me that the stuff here, I mean, this is pretty obvious. It's freaking right out of your guys' mouths. That none of this stuff that I was saying was true, yet I've now proved that it's all true. So, you know, am I lying or is he lying? I'm just curious. And I'm going to wait around this time because you have this really bad habit of waiting until I leave to address me because you're
Your
like,
time.
I would stay around tonight. I'm going to wait for season.
Your time is up, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a day tomorrow to file that retraction. I promise you.
Your name, please?
Eileen Tes, E-I-L-E-E-N. I'm from Algonac, but tonight I'm representing Blue Water Healthy Living. I'm a host there, a news correspondent. And the reason that I'm here is, I'm sure you all heard about the terrible shooting tragedy in Algonac this past week. And when I appeared before the Algonac City Council last week, I said, yes, it was a tragedy. Things happen. Second, that there shouldn't be any attacks on the sheriff's department until an investigation is complete. But what upset me the most and what upset the community was the silence by the city council. And there was no press release. I addressed the mayor. Couldn't you have said something? We're going to do an investigation, find out what's happening. Let's everybody just take a breath. And because of that, Sheriff Matt King reassigned the deputy because of that situation that escalated, and it did not have to. So I'm here tonight to invite any of you or all of you to come on my show or we can set up a time to be interviewed to talk about these issues that are plaguing this city. I just did a special report on some of the cases that we've been following this past year, the Bowman police report, the city manager issues, and we just want to get this matter resolved. As I told Algonac City Council, we are a community. We have to stick together, help one another, but most important, be transparent and communicate with your community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Julian Ru, 1423 Lapeer Avenue, Plys Place. James Freed is a liar. End of story. He lies so much and so often that I could spend the next 4 minutes talking about his lies exclusively with plenty of proof. And he could sue me if I were lying right now. But he's not gonna, because he spent the past year or two doing all he can to keep you guys from talking to me as a group, because he doesn't want to be held accountable. I mean, how many times have you heard him say, there's 12 urban gardens in town? There's like 3, 4. How many times, when a couple meetings ago, when he said that I actually went over on the day that Kevin was ejected, and then I stood up, and then I had my time cut short too. He said, I actually went over, and you thanked him for defending you. Then I sent you guys a link by email of the video footage. 27 seconds cut short. He lies to your faces. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't. It's all about his ego, because he's had his whole life pretty much spoon-fed to him. And somebody like that has never found boundaries. So he's going to keep pushing them. Flask inside his blazer, drinks on like city time. Nobody has corrected him. Now, I know that he's your hire. I know he was your choice. And I know that your ego and reputation are attached to that hire. But you guys have created a monster here. You cannot be held responsible for his every little action. At a certain point, you gotta say, look, dude, I don't care that you're my friend. You have publicly shamed all of us. All the bad things happening in Port Huron right now can be traced to James Freed and his lies. All of them. All the drama with Plys Place, lie after lie after lie. At one point, when he showed up and bullied and harassed us and lied to me about our garden for 10 minutes, before he left, he said, you have to start a nonprofit for us to talk to you. Fine, I'll start a nonprofit. I'm just trying to teach people how to grow food. You need the paperwork, fine. So I started a nonprofit, name it after the neighborhood. Now I got people in the neighborhood mad at me for starting a nonprofit, naming it after a neighborhood because they named the neighborhood a decade ago. I don't care. I don't care what it's called. I didn't want to start a nonprofit, but he told me I had to. So that's why these people are mad at me. By the way, I don't have to. Detroit set $2 million aside for neighborhood nonprofits, church groups, organized groups in neighborhoods. We don't have to be a nonprofit to have a conversation with the city about what we're doing. But he said we did, so I started a nonprofit. Now these people hate me. Great. And then they were at the ZBA meeting complaining about me and the variance. And that's why we are now have retained legal services and are filing a claim of appeal to the circuit court about Plys Place. Spending thousands of dollars that didn't need to be spent. You know he's lied about me. You know he's tried to harass me. You know he's tried to keep us down. Just consider how many people we could have fed these past 4 full seasons if he didn't put his ego before the city. I got 4 more seconds. Consider it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Connor Bonner, 911 9th Street. I'm here to talk about Plys Place. I'm going back to time. I'm gonna talk about how I met Julian. So I was riding my bike, right? So I seen him digging out some holes for some fruits and veggies. And I stopped by. I see him. I was like, this is pretty cool. Something good in our community. And we took 2 loads to the soup kitchen last week. That maybe people only get to eat fruits and veggies, not anything else. As a special needs kid, Julian gives me a chance to learn how to work in the community instead of getting in trouble in the community. I would appreciate if you guys start looking at the benefits of Plys Place, what Plys Place gives the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Please come forward.
My name is Ben Matthews. I lived in Port Huron my whole life. I was reading in the paper in Times Herald about the cats. I know it's a problem, but unfortunately, well, how should I say this? I've been feeding the cats. I've been housing the cats. They got abandoned. My neighbors move in, they move out, they leave their cats, they're pregnant. I take them. But here's the problem. We need to educate people. We got a program down in St. Clair. It costs $10 to get these cats fixed. We could slow the process down. I'm going to ask Port Huron if we could come up with a program here in Port Huron to do such a thing. $10 to fix the cats. Okay? Now, I caught my neighbor poisoning my cats. I say my cats. I caught him shooting my cats. I called the law enforcement agency. Nothing was done about it. He said that he wasn't shooting at the cats. He was shooting at the cats in my yard. Okay? I find that disturbing. I find it disturbing that police didn't do anything about it. Okay? But look, I got paperwork here for 3 cats that I got fixed. Okay? We're not going to have any cats running around out of these 3 cats. Okay? I'm going to continue to do this, regardless if you pass the law or not, an ordinance. I'm going to continue to feed the cats. I'm going to continue to catch them and get them fixed. But I'm asking you to look into it, see if we can come up with a program like they got in St. Clair Humane Society. It's $10 to get a cat fixed. That's pretty reasonable. But some people can't get to St. Clair from here. And another thing, they're not educated about the program itself. And that's where I'm trying to educate some people that this program exists. And some other things, you know, like don't feed the cats at night, because that brings another critters, the raccoons, the possums, and the skunks and whatnot. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
My name is Christine Bridge, and I live at 1016 7th Street, apartment 703 at Grandview Towers. I'm here to raise awareness and seek immediate assistance in addressing the deplorable living conditions that myself and fellow residents of low-income senior building in Port Huron are currently living with. Since a change in management, our living environment has deteriorated significantly, posing serious health hazards. I have witnessed firsthand the neglect and lack of maintenance that has plagued our community. We used to have 2 maintenance men, but only have 1 for many months now. The carpets throughout the building have not been cleaned for an extended period of time, leading to an accumulation of dirt, dust, and potential allergens. Grandview Tower is the only HUD building that allows smoking in apartments. The smoke seeps through the other apartments through the vents, cracks, or under the door. This poses a significant risk for respiratory issues among the vulnerable individuals like ourselves. Furthermore, the community room, a space intended for socializing, is marred by filthy and torn chairs. The unsanitary conditions not only compromise our comfort, but also raise concerns about potential infections or diseases spreading within our community. It is unacceptable our building is being neglected by management without any action taken to rectify the dire circumstances. As seniors on fixed incomes who rely on affordable housing options like this one, we deserve better treatment and respect from those responsible for maintaining our living spaces. Another issue is the public restrooms. There's one men's and women's on the first floor and one each on the seventh. The visitors and health aides that come to help residents can use these as well as the residents. The women's bathroom on the first floor has been changed to management only since this new manager. It is locked all the time. We urge local authorities, including city officials from Port Huron, as well as representatives from relevant housing agencies or organizations dedicated to senior welfare, to take immediate action towards resolving these issues. And there are many more issues. We demand that the management of our senior building be held accountable for their negligence and take swift measures to rectify the situation. I have started a petition and have over 35 signatures so far. We also have pictures as proof, and I hope that you can find a way to help us rectify the situation. We need your help.
We will look into it.
Okay,
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the City Council this evening? Please come forward.
Hello, my name is Ken Beish, and a couple things. First of all, I'd like to commend the young gentleman back here who came up here and talked to you guys. It takes a lot of guts for young people to do that, and I just encourage yourself as well as other young people to come up and voice their opinions to the council. The second reason I came up here is really just to give a word of encouragement. You hear a lot of negativity these days, and the city of I think your report, your audio, whatever it was, some of the growth in Port Huron. I've lived all over the world, was in the military, saw some real, bad conditions. And when I left Port Huron, 30 years ago, it was booming, downtown booming. Then I saw it decline. And you know what? Now it's coming back. Just had dinner downtown with my wife, watching the boats. It's a really nice town. You guys are doing a good job. There's issues everywhere. And, I really think the senior housing, very important. Very, should be on all of our hearts to make sure that our seniors are taken care of. But overall, I think the city is doing a great job. I love what's happening downtown. I'm looking forward to the future of seeing Port Huron grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Kelly's Brothers, Port Huron. I just want to say the same thing. Mr. Freed, you've been wonderful with our neighborhood. I appreciate all of you guys, especially Mr. Freed. We had a problem with the church. Him, you don't need to be disrespectful, sir. I wasn't.
Don't talk back and forth, please. Please.
Point of order.
Please. Excuse me, we really can't have conversations back and forth.
I am very grateful. I'm also grateful for the Port Huron Police who have helped us with the church on the corner. And they all know about, we have spoke to them about that. So, and I just think everybody who comes up to speak should be respectful, give your comments, but don't be bullying. I don't think bullying gets anybody anywhere. And I just want to say thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Hi, my name is Alan Skinner. I live on the north end of Stone Street. Been in Port Huron for over 30 years. Got a couple of comments, a couple of questions. I'm concerned about the process, first of all, concerning the high-rise apartment complex near the hospital, McLaren Hospital. The Planning Commission did their job, recommended that zoning should not be changed. I didn't read any reasons why. They probably had their good reasons, and they understood why they made that, turned that request down. Now the council comes back in, says, hey, we don't like the decision that our city government or our city planning commission made. We're going to have our own. Well, I don't understand what's going on. Fine, we need to know a lot more information. What kind of high-rise, what kind of tenants, what kind of demographics. Anyway, I guess maybe you're going to have another hearing on that. Changing to another subject, the question is the reconstruction of the Gratiot Avenue between the Blue Water Bridge and Holland Avenue behind schedule? It's causing a lot of problems. Stone Street, my street especially, still a drag strip in the middle of the night. High speed motorcycles, cars. It's never been enforced, never been watched, never been taken care of. I've asked about it before. I've asked for a rerouting of the detour. Brings me to the next question. I read recently that Holland Avenue is scheduled for a reconstruction between Pine Grove and Gratiot Avenue. Are we going to have the same kind of problem? Are we going to be taking an extended amount of time? Is it going to be a traffic hazard? What's the detour pattern going to be? What are the terms and conditions of that reconstruction? And guess that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Hi, my name is Mark Watson. I want to address the ordinance about the second reading and enactment of the Southside Neighborhood Improvement Authority. I support that authority. I support the improvement of the south side of Port Huron. Growing up at the north end of Port Huron, especially in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, well, maybe the south side wasn't the place to be, or maybe it was. So if you didn't go there, you didn't know. And now I live at the south side of Port Huron, and I know that my neighborhood, it's been more than welcoming. And there are improvements that need to be done in those neighborhoods. I want to have the support of the city for whatever those may be, including apartments, because there is a house 1 block from me that's $170,000, and it's a wood house with wood siding that they're going to be paying $1,300 a month to try and keep that house, you know, and upgrade it. And that's a lot of money, no matter really how much you make. And I understand that housing is expensive, but there does need to be affordable housing that people either can be proud of a new development, or to, you know, come in and people come into town to work and say, where can I live? Okay, I want to live over there. They check and it says, oh, there's problems in that place, or it's owned by somebody that's raising the rent, or there's another one. So I'd like those, the more options, the better, especially for the south side of Port Huron. It's close. You just get on the highway and you can go, you know, they say jobs wherever jobs are, but you can get out of town and go to Macomb, then get back home, and it's like you're on vacation, you know, living here in Port Huron. You're not stuck where your job is. So I support the ordinance to create the Southside Neighborhood Improvement Authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening?
My name's Chris Haywood. I live at 820 Rollins Street. I'm here to address the board on the decision of the planning or the zoning commission on turning down the high rise. I was at that meeting. I was the one that asked for the site plan. I live across the street from that. I've seen I grew up in Port Huron. My great-grandfather settled here before the city was incorporated. My grandfather was chairman of the first ward, which was Black River to St. Clair River to Lincoln Avenue, where the city stopped, to Black River. So I know all about the politics of the city of Port Huron. I've heard it from my grandfather and from my parents. And my great-grandfather used to be a shopkeeper downtown. Our homestead is where the Knowlton Ice Museum is right now. That's where all the shops were at. He had 5 different shops at one time. But let me start by saying, when I went to the meeting, I expected some kind of a presentation from someone to show me what was going to happen with that property. You know, I imagined some little offices like they have across on Stone Street, Children's Health Care, little. But then they started talking about 4 stories, 40 apartments in each one on a half a city block. Another person spoke about the project. He lives in the neighborhood. He was opposed to it. The board made its decision on 3 factors. The streetscape, which can't handle the extra traffic. You got people going through the Port Huron Hospital doing 60 miles an hour. My grandchildren live across the street from me. The size of the development and the footprint, 4 stories, 40 units in a half a block, that's like overkill. I suggest a better site would be on 10th Street, which can handle the impact of the project. Plus McLaren Parkview already owns the property. It's the old Jefferson School block. They can put it right there. It's a 4-lane thoroughfare through 10th Street. The hospital will probably be glad to get rid of it. I just can't see it sitting where you propose it to be. It's too dense. It doesn't fit the architecture of the property there. I own 4 properties there. You know, I heard you say you're going to get the Erie streetscape or something on the last time's Herald. If you want to buy me out, you can buy me out. $350,000. You can take all 4 of my properties. But I'm opposed to this. That's it. It doesn't fit in. I have hearing aids. Without my hearing aids, I can't hear birds or crickets. I sit on my front porch. All I hear is an HVAC unit from Port Huron Hospital. When they made their new wing, that's all I hear is all day long. I can't even enjoy myself in my own neighborhood. Now you're talking about putting in 40 units. You're talking 100 cars. Where are they going to park? You know, the city says you have to have 2 spaces per unit. You're looking at 100 cars. I don't know. It just doesn't fit. These guys want to override them. They're the ones that made the decision. They have the final authority on the zoning. You want to override it. You know, it doesn't fit. I can see improving the neighborhoods or putting in low-density housing, but 4-story skyscrapers on Erie Street, that's just going to ruin the whole charm of the neighborhood. I know some neighbors are building the neighborhood back up. The gentleman that spoke at the zoning commission, he's got 2 houses that he just rebuilt down there, and he doesn't want to see in the neighborhood. I don't know. I just think that it's totally wrong. You know, you can't override the zone. You probably can, because the powers that be are the powers that be. That's what my grandfather used to say. You know, you can't fight City Hall.
Your time is up. Thank you.
You can ask for their opinion.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Good evening. Darren Rushing, 618 14th Street. Just a couple things off the top. Really wasn't expecting to talk tonight. There has to be decorum. Calling our chief of police a clown or whatever it was he said. And Mr. Freed, Casanova, that's just wrong. If you want to do something, do it right. Back to my real point, Harrison Point. A friend of mine said not too long ago, about 10 years ago, we did a good thing, and we did. City invested close to $500,000 in our neighborhood. Change the name, it's even on Google Maps and everything. It's pretty cool. Got to organize my thoughts. The urban garden that's on 14th or between 14th and 15th, it's not an urban garden. There's extra stuff there. I made a point at the zoning commission. There's no business plan. There's no spread out things. There's an awful lot of opinion, but none of it's been proven. None of it's been documented, and here you go. There's no business plan, there's no exit strategy, there's nothing of the nature that would be part of a good project. Generally, I don't like it because it's a, well, I'll call it an eyesore. I won't repeat what Alan Jowett said about it. But anyway, not that it doesn't have potential, but the way it's done can't just be an opinion. Can't be someone's opinion is fact and then someone else's isn't, or they're being singled out or anything like that. Part of my history, you know, I've worked with the city. I've also spent the last 25 years working in a state prison. I see a lot of correlations in behavior about how, well, this is what I want. And when somebody says no, the bully comes out. Happens all the time. Saw a lot of that today. Wasn't real impressed. If they want to talk to me later, by all means. I've got a lot of experience. I actually have a master's degree in public administration. I could probably help. But I have a feeling that when I say no, or when I gear it towards some kind of regulation, that it probably won't go anywhere. But anyway, my request is for Harrison Point that the name doesn't get used lightly, because myself, my family, and our friends put a lot of effort into it. It's kind of a selfish thing. I mean, we really tried hard. Other than that, I would request.
Real selfish.
Again, when you say something you don't like, you get the bully behavior.
Bullshit.
Have a nice day. That's about it. I would request that anything to do with Harrison Point be dealt with the utmost professionalism and whatever regulations, zonings, any of the different things that involve it, be done correctly, and you know, not just an opinion or well, hey, I said so. That's not good enough. There's a lot more I can get into, but I'm just not organized enough tonight. But that's about it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening? Seeing no one, I'll declare public comment closed. We'll move on with the agenda. We have the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Ashford. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Huron?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Items on the consent agenda: received and filed notification that Marcus Middleton has been reappointed by the mayor to the Traffic Study Committee, term to expire October the 10th, 2025. Approved the qualified licensed establishment Bell River Winery, LLC, and Zebra Lounge and Lanes into the Port Huron Social District, and recommending applicants be approved by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. Confirming and approving single lot special assessments for the cost of sidewalk replacement in the right-of-way. Approving the scheduling of a public hearing for October the 23rd to hear comments on the establishment of an obsolete property rehabilitation act district for 3592 Military Street, as well as a public hearing for the application of an obsolete property rehabilitation act certificate for the same address. And we will go on to boards and commissions.
Receive and file notification from the Planning Commission regarding their decision to deny recommendation on the request to rezone the properties generally described as 814 vacant lot Lincoln Avenue, which includes lots east to Erie Street and south to Rollins Street, for a total of 10 properties, from an A1 zoning district to an A2 zoning district. Council may choose to not accept the Planning Commission's recommendation and have administration prepare the ordinance change for consideration at the next City Council meeting on October 23rd, 2023, to take action on this matter.
Do we have a motion just to receive and file it at this point, and then we'll discuss it, and then we can go on with it with another motion?
Support.
Supported. So we have a motion by Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. And I guess I would like to hear a little bit of background about that and what the project is, et cetera, et
Yep,
cetera.
absolutely. Madam Mayor and Council, I will have David Haynes, our Director of Planning, come up and discuss that with you, as he's the best person.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a housing project that is being proposed for an A2 zone, 4-story, 44-unit development. As you know, McLaren has assembled properties throughout the neighborhood in between SC4 and McLaren for quite some time. To that end, this has been an assemblage of a large enough parcel that can be developed to create workforce housing and affordable housing, which we need desperately in the community. We've been fortunate that Development Group has come forward with a proposal, and I'd ask that they come to the podium and explain some of the details for this project. So, gentlemen from CAHN are here tonight.
David, before they come down, so here we're working on the rezoning of the property.
Correct.
Not the site plan. Can you talk a little bit about what some of the concerns that were brought up tonight, what would be addressed at a site plan review?
Some of the concerns that the Planning Commission had was the location and the necessity of this location being on a thoroughfare, major thoroughfare to be exact. They felt that Erie is not considered a major thoroughfare, but by definition, it is. Major thoroughfares are main arterials, including collectors within the city. And by the Chapter 52, this Erie Street is a collector by definition. So it does meet that requirement. That was a concern. There was some also concerns of, I believe, the whether or not sunlight would be blocked by a 4-story structure. Well, in discussion with Mr. Schaudy today, he pointed out that by the location of the property and its proximity to how the sun actually rotates around, the only properties that will probably be impacted are those owned by McLaren. So those were a couple of the concerns from the Planning Commission. One, and probably the main issue, is that it didn't meet the definition of a major thoroughfare. And we've settled that.
And to be clear, David, to the Mayor and Council and the public, no. The rezoning tonight is not authorizing this project. The rezoning tonight is just regards to the parcel specific for any future development. If this developer would like to come back, they will have to go to a site plan review at the Planning Commission. At that time, if concerns are not adequately addressed, the Planning Commission reserves the right to vote the project down at that point as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so so we have a developer here tonight, which is important, but as we know, deals fall through and developments don't happen. And so we're focused on the rezoning for any possible future development. If this developer, which I believe he will come to fruition and pull off this deal, the Planning Commission would have to approve the site plan at that time in a future date, in which they would talk about the concerns for remediating hazards and stuff they normally do. So with that said, I just want to clarify those key points.
Very good.
Thank you. And go ahead.
All right, thanks. All right. Excuse me. My name is Greg Holman. I'm with Community Housing Network. So we were at the Planning Commission meeting, and sorry. Can you do this for me? Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. I'm having a bad
We all do at times.
My name is C.J. Felton. I'm Director of Real Estate Development for Community Housing Network. I was not at Planning Commission, but Greg was. I was out of town working on another development. There were questions about site plan, and I'll back up what the city manager said. We actually submitted our site plan to the city on Friday, which will be considered at your November Planning Commission meeting. There were questions about site plan, and I'll back up what the city manager said. We actually submitted our site plan to the city on Friday, which will be considered at your November Planning Commission meeting. There were questions about site plan, and I'll back up what the city manager said. We actually submitted our site plan to the city on Friday, which will be considered at your November We have no qualms with talking about what we intend to do. The building itself will be 37 units over 4 stories. There will be a community space and leasing office on the first floor. We are also including in this development, but it's not a part of what we need to change the zoning, the 2-story, rather historic building at Erie and Rollins. We are going to preserve that and do a duplex, an upper-lower duplex. The city owns a home right next to that that I believe was acquired through tax foreclosure, David, and had actually been potentially slated for demolition. We're going to preserve that home and turn it into a 3-bedroom rental. So there'll be 40 units in the total development, 37 in the proposed building. I can answer any questions that you have on that part of it. I think City Manager said very correctly, it's in your master plan that this particular neighborhood is slotted for higher density development. I believe your own housing study in 2017 said there was a great need for all kinds of housing in the city, and that's actually why we were invited here. I think we started talking about a year ago, actually, and then conversations got serious about 6 months ago, and so here we are today. We've got a solution to help provide some new housing. It's a beautiful site. I think the building is going to be, it will be the nicest building we've ever built. And we've done 300 units of multifamily housing. So I will be proud to have our name associated with it. I think it's going to look great. It's going to provide some housing solutions for the city. I can answer any questions that you have.
Thank you for that. So, Madam Mayor and Council, we've done a lot of due diligence on the potential developer here, and I appreciate your presentation. But again, we're rezoning it for you or for anyone else. We hope it happens, but this is specifically not. The rezoning isn't specifically for you; it's for the development of the future there. So here's the thing: we had several Planning Commission members who were absent from the Planning Commission that night. We believe that potentially this vote. We know had they been there, this vote would have been approved for rezoning. And so housing is the #1 issue we face in our community, followed closely second by childcare, the lack of childcare. I spoke with the CEO of the hospital. He has people who want to work at his hospital but can't afford to live in the city. There is no available really rental units right now, and when there's not available rental units, prices go up. I still remember that guy who ran for president and said the rent's too damn high. Well, that's pretty much where we're at. And the only way to offset that is to bring in all the above approach to housing, whether that's single-family home, missing middle, or multifamily mid-rise. Rarely do we get a credible developer as credible as Community Housing Network, who has done this in neighboring Macomb and throughout the state of Michigan with a tremendous record, willing to come in and look at our community for a possible development. With that said, I think it behooves the mayor and council. Ultimately, the decision comes to the elected officials. The Planning Commission members are appointed by the mayor and council, but the way our state constitution works, the final say on what happens in your city lies with your duly elected officials, not appointed officials. It's the reason why I don't get the vote or have a say on anything. It's the reason why the Planning Commission doesn't have the final say. It comes back to your duly elected officials as the Constitution prescribes. What I would recommend to the mayor and council is, before we kill any type of development, that we draft an ordinance and bring it for a public hearing of your own, so that all of you can hear from the community and hear what the pros and cons of this type of development would be. And then you, as the elected officials, can make the final decision whether or not we do this or whether or not we don't. I think right now there's not enough information to all of you to really kill this project right now. I think we should take the next step in the diligence process, schedule a public hearing, look at a possible ordinance language, and then at that time, we'll make a final decision.
Mayor, can I just say something? That's my understanding. We do not have to have a public hearing in talking to the attorney.
Yes.
That we do. I do believe we need to bring it back at the next meeting to actually have a formal public hearing. That will be the public's opportunity to speak, but we don't have to schedule an actual hearing. Am I right?
Yes, you are correct. So the way the law works is a public hearing was already conducted at the Planning Commission level under this under the statute as well as our ordinances. You have the option of having a second public hearing if you would like to, but you're not required to do so. I would also point out that this is in effect an ordinance change, so you will already be required to have a first reading and a second reading. And even if you don't have a public hearing, you'll still have an opportunity, I think as you did tonight, to hear at least some of the comments of people who have interest in that block. So they'll have at least 2 opportunities as well. So you can either do a public hearing and a second public hearing, or just do your normal first and second reading where you have public comment.
I do want to point out as well, MISHDA, when they work at a housing project, score the housing project. There's a whole matrix of what you score the parcel on, right? This is probably the highest scoring property in the city of Port Huron. It's walkability to education, walkability downtown and jobs, walkability to healthcare, walkability to parks and recreation. When we look at that site, of course you can't park 100 cars on that site, but that doesn't mean we haven't worked with the neighboring stakeholders like the hospital on possible parking solutions. There are massive parking lots around there that are underutilized, and so all of those concerns, I think we can look at a site plan, but we do need to look at this, take the due diligence, look at the site and say, okay, this is our highest scoring site in the city. It's located key to job providers, both at the downtown and the hospital, on a bus route, a major street under Act 51, close to education centers. Are we really going to rule this out so quickly without having further due diligence?
I wondered if Jeff Pemberton would like to say.
Yes, I would love to give the short version of
he is our representative on Planning Commission.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Rep. So, and appreciate, David, the helpful summary there as well. I think it was a series of, Mr. Freed had said that it likely would have been voted yes had we had a full membership there. We had only, I think, at the beginning of the meeting, only 5 of us, and then eventually one of the members showed up late. One of our members had to recuse himself because he'd be involved in the housing project, and so that left a very small number. Combined with the fact, I think it was a mix of personalities that just had a lot of misunderstanding of what was happening. I think there were only a few public comments. I think Mr. Soto showed up and supported the project. The gentleman in the audience here, as he said, brought his concerns to the project. There was a rumor about homeless shelter that we were able to kind of clarify. And then I think and I believe the Times Herald article referred to it too, somehow in the midst of the public comment and then the discussion, a whole discussion about the bulldozing of neighborhoods and old Victorian homes from the 60s to now kind of came up, and I think everyone kind of lost sight of what the actual decision was. And so there was some confusion there. And then as Mr. Arnold was chairing the meeting, unfortunately, there was the big confusion, and I think, as he stated, the only reason to deny the request would be because it wasn't on a major thoroughfares. He did clarify that. Unfortunately, usually David can answer the very specific and pointed questions of a surveyor like Mr. Arnold, and so he wasn't there for that meeting. He had to travel, and so because of that, there was a lot of confusion. And so I think had the full membership in there, there would have been no question that this met the requirements for an A2, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen that way. So if there's any other questions specifically about kind of what happened, I think it just, it kind of went off the rails quickly with the confusion, and then there was a lot of confusion about the site plan, and then without David there to be able to clarify the steps of the process, that a site plan is never required at this step in the process, that just increased the confusion, and everyone went, oh yeah, well, I would like to know what it would look like, and then things just kind of went downhill from there.
Thank you.
So my recommendation is also that we would move to schedule the ordinance change consideration on the next October 23rd meeting.
Is there anything from anyone else as far as questions for the developers or questions for David?
No, Mayor, my only comment would be, I think most of us up here, I would agree, we're not ready to put the hammer down and squash a project that It never came to us yet, right? We know a little bit about it, we don't know much about it. It'll give us the opportunity, if we do schedule something, one, to hear from the public, even if it is just a reading, and two, for us to do our due diligence and take a look at it, go to the site, see what we're talking about, and have a little bit more time to digest everything that's happened before we have to make a decision.
What we have before us right now is a motion just to receive and file their recommendations. So we would need to address that first, and then if someone wants to make a motion after that to have it brought back at the next council meeting, then we'll deal with that. So if you'd like to see receiving and filing.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Is there a motion to deny their recommendation and bring it back to the council at the next meeting for first reading on the ordinance?
So moved.
Support. I think I just worded your motion for you.
I appreciate you.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Ashford. Is there anything to discuss on that?
None other than to piggyback off of Councilmember Archibald. We don't have enough data here, and I don't know how the other gentleman, how you fit in, you just come right there, but, you know, as a council member, just speaking of me, I'm not in the habit of killing development anyway, so I thought I was rather strong, but I do think in the scheme of things that this council or any other person considering anything like this, sitting in this position, that we need to deal with what's in front of us, the facts and the wherewithals, in order to intelligently make the right decision. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Then we will take a vote.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. So it'll be brought back at the next meeting. We'll move on to resolutions. Number 1, please.
Authorizing 25 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Is there any questions on the payments?
Mayor Rapp?
Yes.
No questions, just a couple comments. It was mentioned about Gratiot. Can we have an update on
Yes,
how that's going, and maybe the fire station, how that's going, because those are two big.
Yes, so the Gratiot Ave project is actually on time. We slated this to end at the end of October, so it is following its schedule. They plan on doing asphalt this week. They still hopefully may, but unfortunately they got rain in the schedule, so asphalt may get pushed off until next week, but the project is on schedule. The fire station, yes, and the fire station is moving along, actually I think ahead of schedule. Knock on wood.
Thank you.
For the moment.
Or for Micah.
Any other questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Ordinance number 1.
Second reading and enactment. An ordinance to amend Chapter 16, Community Development of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to create a Southside Neighborhood Improvement Authority.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Is there any discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, that concludes our agenda for this evening. We have one announcement. The annual Cops and Jocks Spaghetti Dinner will be held Tuesday, October 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. And it's going to be at Wrigley Hall this year. So please attend. And is there anything else to come before the council?
Madam Mayor and Council, I just want to say congratulations to Sons for getting a $500,000 RAP grant. We helped Sons write that. So they're going to $500,000 to rehab the inside of that school, ADA, bathroom issues, some of the big expenses they're going to have. They still have a $1 million grant in with the state right now, about $350,000, I believe, towards our park. The other half would go towards the community center as well, for the MEDC. So those are our big wins for our community in the past week. I also just want to state, because it was public comment tonight, say that I lied because I said that I didn't have 5 to 7 drinks at Casey's and drive home. That's what the accusation was. I did not. It's just a horrible thing to say about somebody. Additionally, falsely accusing and defaming people of relationships with staff to get clicks on the TV or on the Facebook. That may work out well, but it's horrible and it's heinous. I love my wife and I love my kids. I tolerate this because I love this community and this is where we live and raise our kids. As for my comments on the radio station, I stand by them. We have an individual who has gone to jail for stalking and harassing men and women in this community, who have violated personal protection orders repeatedly to harass and stalk individuals, has gone to jail on numerous occasions. He's a convicted felon, and he stands trial later this month for 3 assault charges. So that's the kind of individual we're dealing with, and we won't count to that. Never once. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Is there anything else to come before the council? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.